Did you know that Africa is home to one of the oldest continuously operating universities in the world, predating even Oxford and the Sorbonne? Get ready to have your understanding of history turned upside down as we dive into the astounding, often overlooked, trivia of the African continent. Africa is vast. It's the second largest continent on Earth, covering approximately 30.37 million square kilometers, roughly 20% of the Earth's land area. That's a lot of ground, encompassing 54 sovereign states, each with its own unique story. Nigeria stands out as Africa's most populous country, boasting over 200 million people. Its bustling metropolis, Lagos, is often cited as the continent's largest city. Towering over much of North Africa is the Sahara Desert, the world's largest hot desert, sprawling across 11 different countries. But Africa's history is far more than just geography and population. Let's talk about Musa of Mali. This 14th century ruler is often cited as one of the wealthiest individuals in recorded history. His legendary pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324 brought global attention to the immense gold reserves of West Africa, reshaping perceptions of African wealth and power. Moving further south, present-day Sudan was once home to the Kingdom of Kush. This powerful Nubian civilization left behind its own mark on history, most notably in the form of the Meroe pyramids. These structures may be later than the famous pyramids of Egypt, but they represent a sophisticated and distinct architectural tradition. Shifting our focus to North Africa, we find Carthage, located in modern-day Tunisia. Founded by the Phoenicians, this ancient city was a major power in the Western Mediterranean, a rival to Rome itself. Today, the ruins of Carthage are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a testament to its rich past. Ethiopia is widely recognized as the birthplace of coffee. The Kaffa region is where the story of this now global beverage began. But there's more than coffee brewing in Ethiopia's past. Let's journey to Fez, Morocco, to discover the University of al-Qarawiyyin. Founded in 859 CE, this institution is widely regarded as one of the oldest continuously operating universities in the world, a beacon of learning that has shone for over a millennium. South Africa's journey to democracy culminated in 1994 with its first universal democratic election, marking the end of the apartheid regime. This was a pivotal moment, not just for South Africa, but for the entire continent. The Organization of African Unity, founded in 1963, played a crucial role in promoting solidarity and cooperation among African nations. It evolved into the African Union in 2002, reflecting a shift towards greater continental integration and economic development. Now, let's delve into some lesser-known facts that often get overlooked. The Nok culture of present-day Nigeria is important because they were pioneers of ironworking and terracotta sculpture in sub-Saharan Africa. This early technological prowess is often missing from conventional history books. Nubia, in what is now northern Sudan and southern Egypt, was more than just Egypt's neighbor. It was a powerful, long-lived state system, including the Kushite 25th dynasty, which ruled Egypt in the 8th and 7th centuries BC. The Great Zimbabwe complex, built between the 11th and 15th centuries, was a sophisticated stone-built urban center in pre-colonial Africa. It became a symbol of indigenous state formation in southern Africa, a testament to the ingenuity and skill of its builders. The Bantu migrations, a multi-phase expansion over centuries, reshaped much of sub-Saharan Africa, spreading language, agriculture, and culture. This wasn't a single event, but a complex and dynamic process. Graco Mosha holds a unique distinction. She is the only woman to have served as First Lady of two different countries, Mozambique and South Africa. Liberia is often considered Africa's oldest republic in its modern state form, while South Sudan, independent since 2011, is the continent's newest sovereign state. The Witwatersrand in South Africa has produced a huge proportion of the world's gold, impacting global finance, industrial development, and South African labor systems. The Great Rift Valley isn't just a geological marvel. It's a critical corridor for human evolutionary evidence, yielding major fossil finds across East Africa, offering glimpses into our shared origins. Western Sahara remains a politically unresolved territory, a persistent decolonization dispute on the African continent. The history of Africa is filled with powerful ancient states. Egypt, Kush, Carthage, Aksum, Mali, Songhai, and Great Zimbabwe all showcase urbanization, literacy, trade empires, engineering, and diplomacy long before modern colonial borders were drawn. The trans-Saharan trade connected West Africa to North Africa and the Mediterranean, facilitating the movement of gold, salt, textiles, and enslaved people. This trade helped finance powerful states like Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. The Indian Ocean trade network linked East Africa with Arabia, Persia, India, and later China, making ports such as Kilwa, Mombasa, and Sofala major commercial hubs. The Berlin Conference of 1884–1885 had a profound impact, accelerating the partition of Africa among European powers and shaping modern borders that often ignored existing ethnic and political realities. The anti-colonial independence wave after World War II transformed Africa's political map, with many states achieving independence between the 1950s and 1970s. The transition from the OAU to the AU reflected a shift from anti-colonial solidarity toward broader continental integration, peacekeeping, and economic coordination. Modern African politics still reflect those colonial borders, often splitting ethnic groups or combining rival communities within the same state. Contemporary regional bodies like the African Union, ECOWAS, SADC, and EAC are direct responses to the need for cross-border political and economic coordination. The memory of apartheid, settler rule, and liberation struggles continues to shape public culture in countries like South Africa, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Angola, and Mozambique. Rapid urbanization and population growth are making African cities central to the continent's future, especially Lagos, Kinshasa, Cairo, Nairobi, Addis Ababa, and Johannesburg. Debates over decolonizing curricula, museum collections, and the repatriation of artifacts are directly tied to unresolved colonial era extraction and representation. Historical trade corridors still matter economically today, with ports, rail lines, and mineral belts frequently following older commercial geographies. One of the major controversies in African history has been the historical erasure of African agency in older colonial scholarship. This often portrayed the continent as lacking complex political systems, writing, or urbanism, views that have been repeatedly disproven by later archaeology and historiography. The origins and interpretation of Great Zimbabwe were politicized for decades, with colonial-era scholars often refusing to credit African builders. This was part of a broader suppression of indigenous achievements. The history of Nubia and Kush was long overshadowed by Egypt-centered narratives, despite the fact that Nubian states were politically powerful and culturally distinct. The slave trade remains a difficult history because it involved multiple systems, trans-Saharan, Indian Ocean, and Atlantic routes, as well as participation by African elites, Arab traders, and European powers. Public memory often emphasizes only one route, which distorts the full picture. The status of Western Sahara remains unresolved and contested, making it a live decolonization issue rather than a settled historical topic. And in South Africa, the legacy of apartheid-era violence, forced removals, and land dispossession remains politically sensitive and continues to shape debates over restitution and inequality. Africa did not begin with colonization. Ancient and medieval African states had long histories of diplomacy, trade, architecture, and scholarship. Some of the world's oldest institutions and cities are African, including al-Qarawiyyin, Carthage, Meroe, and Great Zimbabwe. African history is global history. Gold from West Africa, trade through the Indian Ocean, and colonial partition all reshaped world politics and economics. And what was suppressed matters. Great Zimbabwe, Nubia, and African technological traditions were often minimized in colonial writing. So how many of these facts did you already know? Africa is a continent brimming with rich history, diverse cultures, and untold stories. It's time to challenge conventional narratives and explore the full depth and complexity of its past.